Welcome back, fight fans. This is the DAZN Boxing Show. I go with the name of Ak.
And I'm Barak, the boxing bully.
And it's fight week. That's right. Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. The rematch. It's time for the opening bell. Barak, this fight is obviously highly anticipated. You and I were both in London for AJ Usyk, the first one. We all knew that he was in for a very difficult fight, fighting an Olympic gold medalist, undisputed cruiserweight champion, somebody that is coming with a lot of boxing ability. Though AJ had the size, we didn't know what was going to happen. We found out that day that Oleksandr Usyk was the better fighter that night. Now, changes were made. New trainers were brought to the table. Robert Garcia, offensive-minded, aggressive trainer. You and I were saying that's what AJ needs to be, more aggressive, use his size. Do you think that will be the determining factor in this fight as far as AJ looking better? Is it Robert Garcia?
I think the determining factor would be confidence. That's all I think Joshua needs. I think if he hones in on his confidence, it's one of the first things I ever spoke to him about when I met him. I think he's a very, very dangerous fighter, maybe even unbeatable in the heavyweight division, because technically, as long as he's comfortable, think about the way he fought Dominic Brazil. I'm not comparing these guys to Usyk, but just think about the confidence he had before the fight. Think about the confidence he had in the fight. Now, he just put something out earlier. I think he tweeted it out talking about, these left-handed fighters. If Usyk wasn't a left-handed fighter, he would have steamrolled him or whatever, however he said it. I mean, the last left-handed fighter he fought was Charles Martin. Now, Charles Martin is no Usyk, but he was very, very confident that I'm a better boxer than him and I can knock this guy out. And when I think about it, he kind of beat everybody with boxing skill. So in reality, he's not the kind of guy that just walks you down and beats you up anyway. So I don't know why
He's done that. He did it against Dillian White.
No, he didn't just walk Dillian White down.
I don't mean wow.
He counterpunched. Then let me finish then. You're wrong then. He counterpunched. And he boxed Dillian White and he caught him with hard shots. Now, for some reason in the first fight against Usyk, he wasn't letting that right hand go with steam. It wasn't hard. It was kind of like when Klitschko fought Tyson Fury. He wasn't really letting it go hard.
Okay, so let me rephrase it. I would say he needs to take more risks. Yes, he can do it with boxing IQ, high boxing IQ, but in the pocket, being the bigger guy, take more risks. Throw that extra shot. I mean, you obviously got to be in the lion's den, but if he lands that big shot, obviously AJ can knock any heavyweight out.
I agree, but what I'm trying to say is that's a different kind of AJ than he normally is. So everybody's saying, oh man, all he had to do was be aggressive. That's not how he won every single fight. Right. You know what I mean? So you're asking him to do something different, and maybe you're right, Ak. Having a new trainer, having an offensive-minded trainer like Garcia, right. Maybe that's what we're gonna see.
Barak, but look, to your point, you're right. He's shown great boxing ability and has been able to counter, but using the first fight for an example, he hurt Usyk. Usyk said it himself that, hey, he went to the moon and back with that shot and he was able to recover. So after that is when you have to be aggressive and let them go. Because maybe he could have got Usyk out of there, but he was tentative even after hurting him. So maybe Robert Garcia and AJ's new mindset of, hey, the moment I feel that I touch this guy and I hurt him, I'm going to turn it up and not be cautious anymore. I think that decision in those few minutes could be the difference in that fight.
I agree with you 100%. It's all about the mindset. Now, I remember when he was walking to the ring, when he fought Andy Ruiz the first time in Madison Square Garden, I looked to my friend and I was like, he looks strange. He looks nervous. Something's wrong while he was walking into the ring. So it's on his face. Now, saying that, these arrivals that I saw, I see a different AJ. I see a confident AJ. I see a different, happy, but maintain some kind of aggressive look AJ. And I know that's just a look, but maybe I was right about the Ruiz fight, and maybe I'm right about this right here. I see a different, confident AJ.
Maybe, and Barak, I do want to point out the fact that even though I feel that AJ needs to be aggressive, right, and maybe more offensive minded because he's fighting a great fighter, I still think that his left jab will be key in this fight. I mean, he's the longer, bigger fighter. So everything can go off the jab. Yes, you have to wait for the counter, but jabs also set up counters on counters, meaning that jab could be put out there for Usyk to counter, for AJ to set traps, pop back, land the right hand, maybe check left hooks. So I think his jab, because he's a longer fighter, can still be effective even against a great boxer like Usyk, especially the fact that he's a southpaw. That left hand gets to you a lot quicker. That jab, using it the right way and keeping Usyk at bay can be a determining factor in this fight as far as X's and O's. Yes, at some point, he's still going to have to exchange big, hard shots to hurt him because I see AJ having to knock Usyk out. I'm not saying he can't win a decision, but I say watching the fight, I think AJ's size and him being aggressive, that's how the fight would end if I see AJ winning that fight. But still, the jab is key.
Yeah, very possible it might end that way. And yeah, the jab is key, but he tried that jab last
No, he didn't shot.
Not that way. I know it wasn't a gunshot.
It wasn't
right. I was going to say it wasn't a gunshot jab. Now I don't want to turn this into the AJ show because it's actually Usyk that won the first fight and he's the champion. And I want to tell you this, that Usyk is coming in heavier. Now, I don't know in the heavyweight division, if you're coming in heavier and you're still a smaller guy, you're still a shorter guy, I don't know if that's going to help Usyk because it's those other attributes that won him the first fight. And I mean by saying the footwork and the speed, the in and out that he was doing and the angles that he was doing. I believe that's what won Usyk that fight. So putting on extra weight, maybe that's a defense because he thinks that, well, Joshua's going to be more aggressive. He's training with Robert Garcia. He's going to come at me a little bit harder. So I got to be a little bit more durable. So I'm going to put on some weight. I'm going to be able to mix it up with him on the inside. In case he try to hold me, I'm going to be able to have some extra weight. Maybe that's that kind of mindset. Maybe he just wanted to eat a few more steaks this training camp. Who knows? I'm just saying, maybe. But you're right, Barak. He did win the first fight. He's a phenomenal fighter. I mean, Tony Bellew says it all the time. We shared the ring with him, and he's never fought anybody like that guy. He's so skilled. With that being said, even guys like Tony felt like AJ had a shot of winning that fight. So I think Usyk, we all know he's the favorite. If you look at the betting odds, he is the favorite to win this fight. So he has to have a certain level of confidence going in this fight, knowing, okay, I proved myself the first time, and guess what? Now I'm the favorite. So there has to be a certain level of confidence. But with that being said, he also has to have behind his mind that, hey, this guy has a chip on his shoulder now. He's with one of the best trainers in boxing, and Robert Garcia. Something is going to be different in this fight. This is a rematch. He's trying to get these straps back. So I don't think Usyk is expecting the same AJ he saw last year in the Tottenham Stadium. I think he's expecting a new AJ. No, of course, the winner should always expect something different because obviously Joshua needs to change his game plan in order to beat Usyk, But I think that if there's anything Usyk has is confidence. I do also think that Usyk is aware of Joshua's power. I think he hurt him with a right hand and he really didn't even sit down on that right hand and Usyk was hurt, But I still think that even though he knows Joshua has this power, I think that Usyk feels that he's the better fighter and he's very confident and he fears no man.
Barak, and I don't want to get off of this fight because this is what we're previewing here, but I mean, there's so much at stake. We all know that Tyson Fury has mentioned his retirement, but the WBC has put a little deadline, a little ultimatum. Listen, are you going to retire or not? We needed it in writing, because on the horizon, Barak, there's such a big fight, even if it's with Usyk or more so with AJ, is so much bigger in London. If AJ should win this fight, maybe Tyson Fury changes his mind. You know what? I need to be undisputed champion. I need those straps. And we have the biggest fight in British history should AJ get past Usyk. There's just a lot at stake after this fight. Not that AJ should, lose focus. Obviously, this is a tough task, the toughest task of his career to date. But there's a lot ahead if he wins this fight.
You know what I think? I think that this is one of those very rare times where the fighters are bigger than the belts. No disrespect to the belts. I understand that that's what you work hard for, but I think that worst case scenario, let's just say Tyson Fury drops both belts. He already dropped the ring. That's up for grabs for this fight, but even if he dropped the WBC, no matter who wins in this fight, whether it's Usyk or it's Joshua, everybody in the world is going to want to see Tyson Fury against that winner. So it's a lot at stake for both fighters. And that's why both fighters is going to bring their A game. They never really slack. They never really slack. It might be a mindset that might have messed Joshua up in prior fights, but never really slack in training. And I think that's why we're going to get a really great fight.
I agree with you, and Barak, I know you don't like making predictions and you won't make predictions, but we're breaking down a fight and we're previewing it. And I like to be bold at times, and you always make jokes about it. Hey, these guys really know. They can tell the future. They're psychic. No, I'm not psychic, but I like taking chances. So I'm going to say, Barak, that this fight is going to be very interesting, and we're going to see a different Anthony Joshua. I think the mindset is different. I like the change in trainer. I think we're going to see something special in Saudi Arabia on the 20th this Saturday. And I'm going to go on a limb and say that AJ regains all of the straps and becomes 3-time heavyweight champ and unifies and wins all those straps back with a big knockout. I can't tell you what round, but I'm going to make a prediction, Barak. That's how I see the fight playing out.
I hear you, man. And I understand a lot of times you make a prediction with your heart. You really be telling us who you want to win. That's what you be telling us, and I'm not mad at that at all. You know what I mean? But I look at it like this. This is one of those fights where, we know what Joshua has inside of him, and we know that a more aggressive Anthony Joshua can hurt anybody. So yes, he should be able to beat Usyk. But what we also know is what we saw, that Usyk beat Joshua. But one thing I do want to say, it wasn't like he won 9-10 rounds. Even though it was a different Joshua that seemed to be tentative, seemed to not want to sit down on his punches, it still was semi-close. You're talking about 8-4, maybe 7-5. You know what I mean? So with that being said, with a little bit of tweaking, I can see Joshua winning, but I can also see Usyk winning because he already did.
But Barak, before we're done, I won't ask you for a prediction, but I'll ask you this. Can AJ win a decision over Usyk, or you only see it being a knockout?
That's a really good question. I do know that Usyk is not as short as Andy Ruiz. Obviously, he's not as heavy. He got better feet. But Andy Ruiz is not really a slow guy, even though he was 15 pounds over what he fought the first fight. But AJ was on his toes and using that jab. I'd like to see maybe if he was to fight the same way he fought Andy Ruiz in the second fight, maybe he can outpoint Usyk by being taller, having 4 or 5 inches reach advantage over him and moving on his toes. Maybe so. I like that. I like that. That's yet to be seen.
All right, there you have it. That's the Oleksandr Usyk, Anthony Joshua preview. You don't want to miss it. Live on DAZN in the US.